The NFL scheduling committee has outdone themselves once again. We've got Steelers at the Chargers. Steelers not looking too hot. They got Ben Roethlisberger back from COVID protocol. Apparently he's finding his own way to LA. The Chargers have not been looking good lately. So hopefully they can step up. Hopefully Herbert can fix things and we get an exciting game. But I'm not counting on it. The way things have been going with these showdown slates, man, it's been brutal. Anyways, thanks for joining us, guys. Sunday Night Football, showdown, Steelers at Chargers. I'm Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, what's going on, man? Are you not as excited as I am?
I'll be honest, bro. I've been on a heater with NBA the past week, so I really don't give a shit about NFL right now. Yeah. I think, I've had pretty much a top 10 finish every night this week. Some more profitable than others, obviously, but it's hard sometimes with these multi-sports, especially when the games are this poor on prime time. Like, I'd rather just build for NBA, but I think that there's going to be some opportunity here, and the Steelers, they're still a Mike Tomlin coach team. So I given all the shit they're going through, I definitely think that there is some possibility that they can maintain some competitive edge here. And to your point, with the Chargers being whatever they are, who knows? So we might actually end up with a fun game.
It just seems to me Justin Herbert is the key for the Chargers. We'll talk about some of his stats, but when they've lost, he has done way worse. And when they have won, his average fantasy points are literally double. So he could be the key, and that could also be some interesting ways to build if we think that if we're building Steelers winning lineups, maybe you fade a Herbert on the other side of it. All right, so let's get into this here. We're gonna look at the first look here. Pittsburgh traveling to LA, second-class citizen Chargers. You know that the terrible towels are going to be out there. There's going to be more Pittsburgh fans than there's going to be Charger fans. I pretty much guarantee that. So Pittsburgh kind of has a home field advantage here at this point. The Chargers are minus 239 on the money line. It's a 5.5 point spread in favor of the Chargers. The total is not looking great. It's 47, not terrible. And you see that ownership. There's definitely it's skewed towards the Chargers, and I think that's mainly because of the value. There's the only real value in this game pretty much is Chargers. So thoughts on this, and do you think this, do you agree with me that Pittsburgh, the fans are going to be out there, and that might actually help them a little bit more, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Pittsburgh's always been a popular team, and I don't think anyone's really been a fan of the Chargers. Like, unless you're originally from San Diego, like I don't think LA. You were from there, man, or you lived in LA for a while. I don't think anybody was like all that proud that the Chargers moved to LA, right? They got the Rams, and that's all they cared about.
They could barely make it to a Dodgers game in time, let alone care about the Chargers.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm with you on this one. I think it could be very close to a home field advantage for Pittsburgh. But with that said, I also don't know about – look, the Chargers do have some offensive capability. We've seen some explosive stuff from them. We know Herbert's a pretty solid quarterback. Eckler's good. Williams and Allen are solid. But, again, I just don't know that they're as consistent as they need to be to beat a well-coached team. And there's just a lot of – there's a lot of stuff on the Steelers side of the ball that I really just don't want to underestimate teams. And when I see like lines this disparate, there's that much of a difference, especially in these primetime games. I'm a little bit more questionable than I have been as of late. So again, this might be a great night to go for the opposite way. I think you're going to have some value on the Steelers just because nobody's playing on their offense.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. I think we're going to have to find some ways to get different.
I think anything can happen in this game. I mean, the Steelers could absolutely come out and shut them out. I mean, like they could absolutely destroy them. I just don't know. Right. I don't really have I'm leaning more towards giving the Steelers a little bit better of a chance of actually competing and / winning this game. But it all depends. I think it all just depends on Justin Herbert and what happens in this game. I hope that it's actually a high scoring game, because that New England game was brutal, man. I can't believe I was forced to watch that for more than 10 minutes.
Bro, I turned the game off. So I turned the game off before they brought in Josh Rosen and the other dude.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that he threw 2 more picks. He had a pick 6. I was like, what's going on here? And then I go and look, and defense isn't optimal. I'm like, what the fuck happened?
Of course they were.
In 2 minutes, bro. It was like 2 minutes.
I know. That's embarrassing, man. It's absolutely embarrassing. Let's get on to injuries here. So, not a whole lot to talk about. Chase Claypool will play. He's not even on the injury report with his toe injury, so he'll be back in full force, hopefully. Justin Jackson is questionable with a quad. I don't think that really makes any difference. He's third string guy. I wasn't going to really mess with any of these backup running backs most likely anyways. But here's the big news here. It doesn't really affect us from starters or playing these guys, but on the defensive side for the Steelers, we've got TJ Watt is out, Minkah Fitzpatrick is out, and Joe Hayden's out. That's going to make a huge difference for this team. Yeah. And I think that gives the Chargers a huge boost in the pass game. And I think a guy like Mike Williams, really, really benefits a lot from this, and maybe he can get things going this week finally. He hasn't, at the beginning of the year, we talked about this. I think we did a Chargers slate, and we might have cursed him because it was the 1 week where he absolutely sucked ass. It was his first bad game, and since then he hasn't done anything at all. Remember, he was going off like crazy at the beginning of the year. So I think Mike Williams is a good captain option in this particular game, just simply because I think people are going to be off of him because they've been snake bitten too many times. Nothing really else to talk about when it comes to injuries, right? I mean, what are your thoughts on these defensive injuries for the Steelers?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's definitely going to open up some opportunity for the Chargers, but at the same time, this is a really well coached team. Joe Hayden is more on the tail end of his career than he is in the prime, so he's obviously a big loss. You don't ever want to lose a CB1, but I also think that they have enough pieces around to maybe hang a little bit closer. And again, I think this is really going to depend more on how the Chargers show up. They've just been oddly inconsistent this year. And, those games where you think that they're going to be shootouts, like what was it, Dallas and LA? It was like a 9-6 game.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm exaggerating that a little bit. So it's just been a wildly unpredictable season, especially from these teams that are younger and still inconsistent and don't have that consistent identity.
I mean, you summed it up, man. Like, it's been so inconsistent. It's hard to predict anything. It really is. All right, let's get into our breakdown here. Break it down. All right, so we're going position by position. Hey, guys, throw us a like. We really appreciate it. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. We're a small channel. We're trying to grow. Help us out. Thank you. All right, Justin Herbert, 11.2K. Big Ben, 10.2K. There's a situation here where you can have no quarterbacks in your lineup, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'll probably be closer on the one quarterback builds. I definitely think that there is a possibility that you can build without a quarterback, though, right? Given the total is 46, you got some pieces missing on the Steelers side. You may be easy to stack up Chargers and maybe kind of just fade what you're doing with the Steelers. But one thing I do want to note, though, is I'm seeing some initial ownership projections on Big Ben. He's coming in way under than what I would expect. Oh, yeah. I know that he's coming back from COVID or whatever, but I don't give a shit. The dude is going to touch the ball every time. If he's less than 45% owned, then I'm going to be probably about 45 to 50% owned.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. So Justin Herbert here, like I mentioned in the opening, when this team loses, he just does not play well. So in wins, he's averaging 28 completions on 40 attempts, about 320 pass yards, and just over 3 touchdowns. And his fantasy point output in wins is 30 fantasy points on average. In losses, you're looking at 15 fantasy points on average. Now, this is a small sample size, don't get me wrong. But the reason why I bring this up, and he's only throwing for like 1 touchdown on average in those games. The reason I bring this up is because a lot of times a quarterback can still get you there fantasy-wise when their team loses or they're not playing well. We can still get you there. But you see his floor is 12, 13 points if he's having a bad game. So that I bring that up because we might not need to run it back with Justin Herbert. You can probably get away with Eckler. You can probably get away with Keenan Allen or Mike Williams. and not have Justin Herbert in it. Now, if you think it's going to be an onslaught, you think they're going to score 30 points, then yeah, you probably should have him. But I'm only saying this because I just think that you can think about fading Justin Herbert in some lineups. With Big Ben, you're right, man. Like, this dude is going to be, he might be like the 4th highest owned captain and probably the 5th, maybe the 5th highest owned overall on the slate. That makes me interested in him. I mean, he's going to throw the ball 30 to 40 times, most likely. So, I don't know, man. I don't love Big Ben, but in this matchup, at his price, I do kind of like him. So you want to move over to running back?
Let's do it.
All right, who do you want to start with?
Let's start with Steelers. I think this is, I mean, the running back should be fairly cut and dry, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so, there's nothing to talk about here, really, to be honest. Go ahead.
Yes, play Najee Harris.
And don't play his backup.
Okay, you want to go over to the Chargers?
Yeah. Look, Najee Harris is averaging, I mean, this dude is averaging, let's see, 19.5 rushes per game. The last 3 weeks, 26 rushes, 22 rushes, 26 rushes. I'm pretty sure this dude has, let me look up the stat. He's got 32% of Pittsburgh's scrimmage yards this season. That's the second most in the NFL. This dude is going to get the ball. And if I had to pick one guy that I need to lock into every lineup, it's going to be Najee Harris. And I think that Najee Harris is actually, because of how expensive he is and because the Steelers aren't favored, people might be off of him at captain. Because you got some sexy picks with Eckler and Keenan Allen. I think Najee Harris is a great captain option. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, man. I think this isn't something to overthink here. I'm right on board with you here. If your defense is missing a bunch of its starters, the best way to put them in a position to not have to fuck things up for you is to give the ball to your running back who can run the ball 26 times a game. So it's a no-brainer for me. I'm going to have as much Najee Harris as I can possibly get, and I'm right with you. I think this is a running back captain slate.
Yeah.
So like I don't think we need to get too crazy at the captain spot. Like I think that there are some value options that are worth getting different at, but this might be one to kind of ride the chalk backs and see what happens.
Look, the Chargers rush defense 31st in yards per carry at 4.8. They are dead last in yards per game against the rush at 155 yards per game on average. Play Najee Harris. Just play him. I mean, unless he gets injured, this guy, in my opinion, will be the highest scoring player potentially, or at least he'll get the most volume. And that's what you really care about. Don't play any of these backups. I'm not touching them. If you want to take a flyer on a couple of these guys, we said it in the last Pittsburgh slate. There's not enough opportunity. Maybe Balaj gets 3 snaps and Benny Snell gets a handoff. It's just not enough. I don't care. I know they're $200 and they're $400. It's just not enough to pay off. Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, I'm with you. I have no interest in any of these other guys.
And it's so weird because I love the $200 guys backups, but not for this team. You know what I mean? All right, let's go to the other side. We've got. Go ahead. You take it away. 10.8K for Austin Eckler.
I think this side is just as easy as the other side. I mean, Larry Roundtree and Justin Jackson, neither one are priced in the spot that I would get them at their shitty volume anyways. And Austin Eckler, he's getting healthier as the season goes. He may not be getting the same amount of attempts that we're used to seeing in the 15 to 20 mark, but even at 11 to 12 attempts, the dude's still putting out 15 points or whatever. He's going to get involved in the pass game. I mean, if you look at his targets, he had 6 last week, 3 the week before, and 10 the week prior. He's very much a safety blanket, and again, if I'm looking at initial ownership projections, he is too low. I think you're right on point. This might be a situation where, just given the ownership that's going directly to Justin Herbert, you may be fine grabbing Eckler and Allen and really just fading Herbert. You could capture the entire offense that way, or Eckler and Williams. And at his ownership percentage, I love him.
Well, what I'm seeing, he's the highest owned on the slate, is what I'm seeing on my end.
So that's going to be really interesting because he's under 40 on RG.
Yeah, that'll change. They're wrong. I think that you can get some of him at captain. I like him at captain. Don't get me wrong, but it all comes down to ownership as we get closer. Yeah. If he's the number one, I'm gonna probably lean towards going with Najee Harris more and some of these wide receivers. But you can't go wrong with putting Austin Eckler in a ton of your lineups, especially going against a defense that's really just not looking too healthy so far this year. When it comes to these backups, man, Larry Roundtree, 1,200. He's the clear number 2, but I mean, by number 2, it's, it's not really looking too good for him when it comes to like snaps. I mean, both of these guys. So Justin Jackson and Roundtree are averaging like 15% of the snaps like per game. It's just not enough.
Yeah, and they may get the occasional goal line touch, but I think this offense understands Austin Eckler is so far beyond their other backs that he's going to get a workhorse volume. Yeah. And again, I think I'd rather play a guy like Jalen Guyton over one of these guys, even though that's probably a riskier play. Like, it's just a similar price guy, and he only needs one attempt to get 40 yards and a touchdown. So I'm not feeling any of the backups today.
Yeah, backup running backs for me are a no-go on this slate. Spoiler alert. All right, so wide receivers here, we got Keenan Allen, 9,400. That's a good price for him, man. Mike Williams, 7,400. We know what we've been Mike Williams fans on Showdown for years now, I feel like, because he's got that home run ability, and he seems to always slip under the radar because he's super streaky. He'll go 3 or 4 weeks where he's crushing, and then you don't hear from him. This could be the week where he breaks out. We'll see. I know there's risk involved. I actually would prefer with Mike Williams, I would prefer to fade him more in the flex and just put most of my lineups that I have with him, just put him at captain, because you see that he's boom or bust. If he gets you 7.3 fantasy points and he's in your flex, it's not going to end well for you. But if he
if he gets 36 and a half,
and you're going to have to have him at captain. You know what I mean? And look, if he gets 7 points and he's in your captain spot, that lineup's dead. But who cares? That's the risk. So a lot of Mike Williams a captain, Keenan Allen a captain, obviously. Now Keenan Allen's been getting 10+ targets, consistently. Look at these last 3 games here. He's gotten 11, 13, 11, and that's with this team struggling a bit. So I think they know they need to get him the ball as much as possible. I mean, his low on the season is 5 targets, but that was in a blowout. He's pretty much guaranteed to get you between 8 to 12 targets every game, and that's what I like to see. So Josh Palmer at 1,600 and Jalen Guyton at 2K. So when it actually comes to, it looks like Jalen Guyton is the guy here, right? I mean, he's getting about, on the season, he's getting about 56% of the snaps. From what I'm seeing, is that what you're seeing too? He's the number 3.
Yeah. Now the only thing I want to call about a Guyton is, yes, he's the 3 based on snaps, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get a volume of the targets. Now, we're looking for opportunities though. So if he's going to be on the field 53% of the time at 2K, I still like him a little bit better than I like Larry Roundtree or Justin Jackson. So the only thing that might give those backup backs the edge is if I think that for whatever reason they're going to get a few more goal line touches. Yeah. But 2K and 1,600 for both these guys, like I really just don't mind taking occasional flyers on them. Yeah. And they're so low owned that you don't need to have a whole bunch of them. You can kind of just rotate them in as a last piece or something.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely the last piece if you need to fit them in. I would rather go, the value I'd rather go with is in the tight end position. There's a lot more value there and I feel more comfortable with those guys getting a touchdown opportunity or getting some more targets.
I mean, this is the same team that had a double tight end in the optimal like 3 weeks ago. And so I'm with you on that.
Exactly. All right. So bottom line is play Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams can go off or he can absolutely suck. We know that. Put him at captain. All right. Let's go to the Steelers. This is another interesting, the Da Vinci Code here. We know Deontay Johnson. He's at 8,800. We know he's going to get like 15 targets, pretty much. What does he do with those targets? I don't know. He's the safe bet. There's going to be volume to him, especially with Big Ben coming back. We know he likes Deontay Johnson. Now, can he hold on to those passes? We'll see. He's known to drop the ball. Now, Chase Claypool is a really interesting captain option and just option in general for me. He's at 7K. He's coming back from the toe injury, I believe. I think he's going to be way under-owned. And he's got that home run touchdown ability that you want to put at the captain spot. So Chase Claypool at 7K. And, we'll get to some of these other guys. So Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool, who do you like it more here?
Yeah, I think it's even. It's kind of 50-50 for me. I kind of give the edge to Claypool just because he's 7K. That's a lot of flexibility that you're going to get. But I think it's similar to the Mike Williams situation, right? This might be more of a better captain option than he would be a flex play because he is a boomer bust guy, right? If he goes out there and has a game like he did against Cincinnati, 15 targets, 9 receptions, 100 yards, right? That's something that you're going to want at the captain spot, but paying 7K for a 7-point output isn't going to work in your flex, kind of like you were talking on the other side.
Yeah.
Now, Deontay Johnson is going to be a more consistent flex play. I think if you're putting one of these guys into the flex, it's really got to be him if you have the salary. And that's just because he's going to get 72 targets and probably 15 receptions. And that's enough off of if he got 0 yards off of his 12 receptions, that's still probably enough from his position to kind of be in an optimal, right? That's still going to get you pretty close to what you need.
Yeah.
So that's really what I'm going to be kind of building here is I kind of like the strategy you discussed in the last side. And I think I'm going to be more cognizant of that when I'm building tonight.
Yeah. And yeah, I totally agree. And stacking, if you will, in quotes, stacking Deontay Johnson with Keenan Allen, you're just going to get a ton of the total targets in the game are going to go to those guys. You put both of them in your lineup, it's going to be pretty safe. And put another guy, a lower owned guy at captain with higher upside. That might be the way to go. So Ray McLeod, 3,400. James Washington, 4,800. I'm not really super interested in these guys. The tight ends on this team are getting more of the target volume than McLeod and Washington. I am a Washington fan. I mean, he did request a trade, I think, in training camp because, before all these injuries popped up. So he's needed now, but I just don't think the ceiling's there. And at 4,800, I'd rather go with one of these tight ends, right?
Yeah, man. So I think Ray McLeod is just misleading. I know he had 12 targets last week, 9 receptions, but he played Detroit, right? That was a terrible game. It was an overtime game. It was just a bunch of nonsense with,
and Mason Rudolph
back there, right? So I'm not really excited about playing him. And at 3,400, he seems priced up based on his performance last week.
Yeah.
James Washington, 4,800. I don't mind a flyer or two here. Last piece, you got the salary, go ahead and throw him in. It's not going to make or break you, I don't think. But I'm just not going to be targeting him in any builds. His benefit to you is just really his upside, just his big play upside. He's very fast. He's going to line up in the slot, and he's going to have mismatches probably on the defensive side of the ball that can kind of open him up for big plays. But that's it. He's not going to go out there and get 8 catches for 50 yards and 2 touchdowns, right? That's not who he is.
Yeah.
So you're only playing him if you need that additional flyer guy that you think is going to bust out a 70-yard receiving touchdown.
Yeah. If Anthony Miller is active, which he probably won't be, I don't even know if he's suited up in it for a game for this team yet. I might get 1 or 2 lineups with him at $800 just because I know that Anthony Miller is one of these speedster guys that can take it to the house. But there's nothing really else to mention besides that. So tight ends for Pittsburgh: Pat Freiermuth, whatever the hell, 5,400. So we saw him go off on that 2 weeks ago in that showdown slate where he had 2 touchdowns. He's been playing well. Last week, in a tie without his quarterback, he fumbles the ball and pretty much not loses his team the game, but they couldn't win because of that. They were driving to kick the field goal to win it. But still, he had 9 targets. I like him a lot, and look, he was 7K back when he was priced up in that Chicago game, and he's dropped all the way down to 5,400 for really no reason. He's still the same guy. There's no difference. I know Claypool's back, so maybe that takes a couple targets away from him, but he's out there to catch touchdowns. 5,400 for him, why not?
Yeah, I'm with you on this, man. So first of all, I just want to point out something crazy that I'm sure everybody knows by now. His only 2 touchdown game this season was on Monday Night Football. The tight ends in primetime games this year has been crazy.
Yeah.
It's just go to the flow chart, right? Then just play him.
Yeah.
And especially at this price, 5,400. Again, I'd rather play him over James Washington. So, I mean, similar ownership percentages based on the initial projections I'm seeing. He's in a good spot. Chargers defense is, again, hit or miss. And Claypool coming back might actually kind of benefit him, right? Because now you can't necessarily just shut down Deontay Johnson and Pat. you're gonna have to pay a little bit more attention to Claypool. So I think it could give him a little bit more like big play upside. Maybe instead of getting another 2 receptions, he's going to have, another 35 yards because you're not able to cover everybody. Chase Claypool is going to stretch the field a little bit more, and he's going to open stuff underneath for Pat, right? And then Deontay Johnson's going to run the probably 8 to 10 routes. You're going to have Pat Freiermuth in position to get some of these underneath routes and beat the defenses underneath the safety. So yeah. I like him.
Yeah. And
Eric Ebron is ridiculously priced while we're looking
Eric
at
Ebron, we know he's got 2 touchdown upside, 3,200. He's not being used as much. But look, Freiermuth, they're doing a lot of double tight end. They're busting out a lot of 2 tight end sets. So Freiermuth, I think, is getting 63% of the snaps. I think Ebron's like 30-something plus. I'm interested in him at 3,200. I'm not going to go too crazy with him, but I mean, look, and Zach Gentry, now that Ebron's back, I'm not really super interested in him. He's more of a blocking guy every once in a while. But keep an eye on Ebron, keep an eye on Freiermuth. And Freiermuth is 4th on the team in target share. And guess who's in front of him? Najee Harris. That's another reason why. It's another reason why you got to play Najee Harris tonight. He's going to get all the rushing attempts, and he's going to get targets out of the backfield. Okay. Let's go to the other side. More tight ends to talk about here. Man, there's so many tight ends I want to play. Jared Cook, 4K. Donald Parham, 2,400. We saw both these guys end up in a Millie Maker optimal maybe 6 weeks ago, or I don't know when it was, but it was a while ago. I'm interested in both guys. Jared Cook, I actually like Parham more than Cook. Parham has just as high of an upside, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right on the head there. I don't have much to add to that. I think Jared Cook at 4K is not a good pricing for this slate. He should be priced up a little bit more just because of, I don't know, man. Like, it's inefficient pricing. You're going to be able to jam in both these guys. And what are the kickers? 3,800 and 36. Like, I'd just rather play literally both these guys. You know what I mean? So I'm with you. I'm going to be playing both these guys again. I don't know if I'll have too many like handcuff stacks. I'm not going to be chasing that one, performance where he had both of them.
Of course.
But I definitely think again, their initial ownership projections are way too low too, and this is clear and obvious value. So I'm going to jam him in.
Parham's my favorite value on the slate, at least.
Yeah.
The safest. He's getting the most snaps, and he also has the highest upside at 2,400. You don't overthink it. He's probably going to be, let's see. This dude's going to be less than like 10% owned. So if you get 15 to 20% of him in all your lineups, you're still have so much leverage. You don't need to go too crazy with him. And Jared Cook too. 4K, he's got the upside. We know it. All right, so kickers. Let's see. Who's actually playing? There's 3 kickers listed here. What are you seeing on your side, Ellie? RG?
I have...
Is it Vizcaíno or Hopkins?
I have Hopkins.
Okay, either way, they're priced the exact same. They're projected probably the same. Whoever's actually playing, just do your due diligence on that one and see which one's actually playing. But they're kickers. You know the deal. I'd rather just play Jared Cook or go down to Parham, right?
Yeah, both these guys will be in play just given the low total and just some of the offensive struggles that we've seen, at least from the Steelers side. And then the inconsistencies that we've seen on the Chargers offense, right? There could be some settling for field goals here. But again, I'd rather just play Donald Parham.
Yeah, I'm going to get my fair share of kickers, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to go over the field. 15 to 20% of kickers, that should be fine. Defense, Steelers 4,200, Chargers 4,400. Any interest in we can't rule out defenses anymore, right? You just never know.
Yeah, I'm interested in both. I think the Chargers defense is actually pretty interesting here. I know Big Ben's coming back, but this could set up like an interesting situation for you to stack kind of the Chargers offense with the defense and maybe just run it back with 2 Steelers. I think that this probably should be a scenario where the Steelers have to play from behind a little bit. The Chargers are the better team on paper, and because of the injuries that we're seeing on the Steelers defense, this could easily be a Mike Williams opens the game with a 70-yard touchdown, Austin Eckler ends up with another touchdown. So now you're putting Ben Roethlisberger in situations where he doesn't want to be in.
Yeah.
If he has to come out and throw the ball 40, 45 times, I think that actually kind of benefits the Chargers defense and opens up opportunities for strip sacks and pick sixes.
Absolutely.
And then, Steelers defense, right? Like, I get that all those people are out, but who knows which Chargers team we're going to see this week. I don't hate taking a flyer here or two on them.
Yeah, I mean, look, Herbert has a ton of upside. We all love Herbert. We think he can be, a top 5 quarterback in the future, but he's still a young guy. He's halfway through his second season. Things can go wrong. You never know with him. So, yeah, Steelers defense, Chargers defense, both. All right, let's go to our fades. Ellie, no fade for you, right?
Yeah, man, it's just going to be a tough slate, right? The salary is going to kind of dictate where we're going to be going. I know the pricing's a little bit inefficient here, but we really need to kind of understand who's also active. I mean, if they come in with a bunch of different cheap value guys, then, I may be spreading myself out a little bit more. But other than that, I think it's clear and obvious that you're probably going to have to pick one of the wide receivers on both sides of the ball, and then you're going to have to decide whether or not you want Eckler and Harris, right? So your build per lineup is going to kind of dictate who you end up fading.
I think. Totally. It's not an across-the-board thing, especially on this slate. So for me, backup running backs, the only guy I would really consider is probably Roundtree, a little bit of him. And I'll get some of the Chargers backup running backs. I won't touch a single Steelers running back. Because look, if they score, they're going to be so low owned, it's not going to really hurt you much. And I'd rather just not even touch them. They're not going to get enough volume to hit their value, even at $200. All right, so let's go to our Crown Their Ass segment.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
It's our favorite captain choice. Ellie, you're going with Eckler. I love it. Not a whole lot to talk about there. He's Austin Eckler. He can break the slate at any given moment. For me, I love Najee Harris first and foremost, but as a contrarian option, I love to go with Mike Williams. Put him at captain, maybe fade him in the flex a little bit, or just be with the field in the flex. And I really like his upside, because we know he can score 30 fantasy points easy in a game. But most of my lineups are going to be Najee Harris, because he's just going to absolutely, he's going to touch the ball upwards of 25 to 30 times. You just know it. All right, you want to build a lineup here?
Let's do it, dude.
All right.
Let's start with Najee.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what they want to give us here first. Let's see. Let me fix that. All right. This is the opto. Keenan Allen, a captain. Justin Jackson, Cook.
Yeah, I'm not playing Justin Jackson.
Deontay Johnson, Eckler. I don't want to play Justin Jackson. No thanks.
This is a 5-1. This is right?
And I'm telling you, dude, every lineup that I've crunched from both sites, they're almost all 4 or 5 Chargers. Almost all of them.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think this is a good 3-3.
It's slate. A good 3-3 opportunity. And I don't love a lot of the Steelers, but you put Najee Harris, you put Deontay Johnson, and you put Freiermuth or some combination of those guys. I feel pretty confident that those guys can pay off. And you'll be a little bit different, because everybody's going to be playing 4 or 5 Chargers, which doesn't make sense to me. It's I don't think that it necessarily will be a blowout. So let's put Najee Harris. Let's see. He's the most expensive player on the slate, and that's why I think his ownership is going to be a little bit lower. Let's do you want to do a Justin Herbert, or do you want to fade the?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll fade him here with this captain here in a second. So Austin Eckler, or do you want to go with who do you want to go with here? We're going to have to find some value.
Yeah, let's go Eckler, and then let's throw in Parham.
Love it.
What does that put us at here?
7,900 for 2 spots. So we're going to have to continue to find value. And the tight ends, we might end up with 2 tight ends in this one. You could go with Freiermuth as well.
Can you do Freiermuth and Claypool? Is that possible?
No. We have
not even close.
Yeah. When I said 7,900, I meant total for 2 spots. I mean, you could go Claypool and punt. But like I said, I don't really like a lot of this value on the low end. You can't even afford Justin Jackson at that price. You'd have to go down to Benny Snell or Balaj, and I'm not doing that. So
what if we go from Eckler to Mike Williams and then throw back in Claypool? we're putting the two guys who said we would prefer a captain into this. That's fine.
Well, hey, let's try this. Hang on. Let's try Keenan Allen instead. He's a little bit cheaper than Eckler. Maybe that can get us something here. Let's just see if Keenan Allen pays off here. So, what do you think? We have 4,600 per position, or per flex here, per spot. So we can get Claypool and then go down to a $2,300 guy like a Guyton or a Palmer.
Yeah, I don't hate that. What if we go instead of Claypool? I mean, shit, throw in Jared Cook.
Here's where we're going to start running into issues too. Is look at all these Chargers. This is why getting a 3-3 is kind of important. It makes you automatically you can play as many chalk guys as you want, but if your roster construction is different than everybody else, you'll be fine.
And then this will force in James Washington. That's kind of the next guy that we have available.
Let's put in Freiermuth. And that gives us 3,900. Boswell, you can go Boswell.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Absolutely.
Not bad. There's not really a punt here. I mean, Parham is the least likely to score you points, but all these other guys are pretty good. Let's take out Herbert and see what we can do here. So Keenan Allen. Now, what we could do is Eckler and Mike Williams, or we can do, Eckler. Let's just try Eckler and Allen and see what happens. And then let's try to fit in. Let's do this. Let's try to fit in 4 Steelers now. You think we can do that?
Yeah, I think we can. Let's see Pittsburgh.
We want to get 1 wide receiver here. We got $12K for 3 positions.
Okay, let's go with Deontay Johnson.
Okay, 3,300 for two spots. That's going to be tough.
Yeah. Okay. So take Deontay Johnson out. Let's go. Jesus, I guess we got to go to Freiermuth, huh?
or Claypool. Let's try Claypool. I know we talked about putting him in the captain, but he's a little bit more reliable, I think, than Mike Williams. 5,100 for 2 spots. You can go with Ebron, Ray McLeod. That leaves you with 1,900. So yeah.
I know we said we wouldn't do this, but I don't hate this. Let's punt with Kalen Balaj.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And then what does that leave us? 4,900. That gives us the ability to come up here to James Washington, which, again, I don't feel great about. But
and that's why nobody's going to have 4 Steelers in their lineup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless you're fading Eckler or something and you just have Allen and Williams or something to that effect. It's just going to be tough to build like that.
So let's try that. Let's go from Allen down to Mike Williams.
Okay.
Yeah, and then let's come off of Claypool and put in Freiermuth.
You want to go to Deontay? Can we go to Deontay?
Can we?
5,300 for 2 total spots.
Okay.
And then from Deontay we'll go to Freiermuth too. So that gets you an Ebron or Ray McLeod. Let's put in Ebron here. Let's just see what happens. That leaves us 2,100, and you got to put a Chargers guy in. You just have to.
Yeah, I think that goes to Guyton, right?
Which is I'm not. Well, actually, that's fine because we have a 3-3 going here. So you can go. Oh, you can't go Parham. You can go Guyton. Go Palmer, something to that effect. Let's kill Deontay Johnson. Let's go to Freiermuth. I think it's going to be middle range guys. You're just going to have to. You can't go stars and scrubs here. You just can't. 8,700 for 2 spots. That buys us a little bit more. So, what do you think?
Parham.
Parham. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try to get another Steeler. 6,300. Doesn't do much for you. You can get James Washington and leave some on the table.
Yeah, let's see. What if? Okay, so this might be interesting then here. So instead of Eckler, let's go Ben Roethlisberger.
Okay. Here, let me kill this.
And bear with me here.
Okay.
Well, hold on. No, put those back.
Oh,
damn it.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
What do I have? Freiermuth?
Yeah. And then
Parham.
Parham, and then Big Ben.
Okay, let's put in Big Ben. 6,900.
Yeah, it's $100 short of Chase Claypool.
Yeah,
Damn.
that was. So let's move on from Najee Harris. I think you're going to have to really work hard to get Najee Harris a captain, and it's fine. I think he has super high upside, but let's try to have some fun here. Who do you want to build with? Austin Eckler, or do you want to go with Mike Williams?
Nah, let's do Mike Williams, and then a lineup with Claypool, and I think we can move on.
Okay.
I think honestly, I think those are the two top routes. Like obviously Harris and Eckler, great plays, but I think for GPP with the salary constraints, this might be the way to go. Let's throw in, I love it.
Yeah.
I like Big Ben at his current projection. Let's throw him in and kind of just see where we're at.
Okay.
And then Parham.
Donald Parham, XFL,
And
3,700.
Chris Boswell. I don't hate that, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. There you go.
Ray McLeod, if you're feeling crazy, Eric Ebron, all those.
Yeah, you can go down from there. That's nice. That was on the first try. We're already pretty happy with it. That's why I like Mike Williams.
I mean, here's the other thing, right? Like, let's see.
You can take Big Ben out and put Deontay in too.
Yeah, exactly. Or swap him out for Najee, like something along those lines, right?
Yeah.
Mike, Najee, Austin Eckler, Deontay Johnson. Yeah, I mean, and then what? Donald Parham again?
Well, let's see. Let's see if we can fit in Freiermuth and 2,100 and get Guyton in. You got Harris, Deontay Johnson, Freiermuth, the highest usage guys on the team. Mike Williams as a flyer at captain if he goes off, and Austin Eckler and Guyton. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it.
You could kill Freiermuth and put in you could put in Jared Cook. And that gets you 3,500 left, so that buys you. That's Ray McLeod and Ebron, that kind of thing. All right, let's do Claypool.
Yeah.
Chase Claypool, 7K. Do we want to put a Herbert in?
Yeah, let's do Herbert.
And don't mistake the fact that we haven't been putting a lot of Herbert in. We're going to play plenty of Herbert. We're just trying to see how it works without him. Who else?
So do Herbert. Yeah, put in Najee. Can we get Keenan Allen? Where does that put us at?
We're gonna make it happen. 7,100 for 2 spots.
All right. So don't call me crazy, but let's throw in DPJ. Let's get Donald Parham Jr. in there.
Okay, DPJ.
That's not gonna work because that's Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah. 4,700. That gets us kickers. That gets us defense. That gets us Jared Cook. I don't hate that at all.
It also gets us Steelers defense and the Chargers defense.
If you took out Parham? No.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Like
either or. Okay.
I mean, on a 46 total, that would be ballsy as fuck, kind of playing in the opposing team defense with Claypool at captain. But if you're fading Ben Roethlisberger, like, it might be the way to go if he has a strip sack and then a fumble.
Yeah.
Recovery for a touchdown. Yeah, I don't know, man.
You go Hopkins, Ebron, Boswell, Ray McLeod, or Boswell, Ebron, that kind of thing. You can just there's so many options here. So I think
real quick, go ahead. Last one. So go back to Herbert. Leave Claypool captain.
Okay, sorry.
Go Herbert.
Okay.
And let's do Mike Williams real quick.
Okay, Mike Williams.
Najee Harris.
Of course. He's going to be in 100% of my lineups. I don't give a fuck. 9,100.
Throwing Parham.
DPJ. 6,700.
Yeah, I guess Pratt Freiermuth didn't really do anything for us.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't hate it, though. I think the moral of the story here is don't be afraid to fade one of the quarterbacks, if not 2. And I think mid-range price tag this week may be the way to go. I really think so, as opposed to going super high with Eckler or with Najee Harris. I'm going to have plenty of Najee Harris, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to have a lot more fun building the Mike Williams or the Keenan Allen lineups. You know what I mean? And don't be afraid to put like a Freiermuth or a tight end at captain. I really think so. All right, so who's the low owned guy that can score? And then what's your bet for final score here?
Yeah, so I guess Donald Parham is the way to go. I mean, I just like him. I think he's got a good opportunity. He scored last time. Score, I'm going to go, I'm just going to keep calling it 27-17
until you get it right.
Yeah. Until I get it right.
I'm going to go, I like Donald Parham. I'm going to go with Eric Ebron. I called it last time. I said he was going to get a touchdown, and he had a rushing touchdown. Who cares? He's going to get a touchdown one way or another. I'm going to put my money on him. Maybe I'll put an anytime touchdown bet down on him. All right?
I'll take it.
I'm going to go with 21-17 Steelers in this matchup.
Okay.
We'll see. Could be interesting. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Throw us a like on your way out. Subscribe. We appreciate it. We'll see you for Monday Night Football. And that is another great game. That's another Giants game, right?
How did they get so many goddamn primetime games?
At least we got Tom Brady. At least we got that.
Yeah.
All right, see you guys later.